NPA meeting. We haven't had one in a while. We took Christmas off with Christmas falling on when we would have our meeting or thereabouts. And we were early in November with Thanksgiving. So good to see you all. Thanks for joining. We wanted to remind everyone of our ground rules, and I think they're especially important tonight. We have a lot to cover with the election coming up so quickly, and with ballots going out really quickly. We thought it was important to have this meeting and have both ballot items and candidates in January. So we have a lot to cover. The ground rules: listen to others speaking, respect the agenda and process, share your opinion politely, and treat people respectfully. With that, I'll go around and start doing introductions. I'll facilitate introductions. I'll start with you, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff Comstock, Ward 7 and Steering Committee member.
I'm Jeff Clark, Ward 4, Steering Committee as well. Sarah?
Sarah Carpenter, Ward 4, City Councilor.
Karen? Karen Durfee?
Hi, I'm Karen Durfee. I am hoping to be on the steering committee, and I'm a police commissioner. Ward 7.
Jenna?
Good evening, everyone. Jenna O'Donnell, Ward 4 Steering Committee member, and I apologize. I am paying attention. I'm just trying to get people to tell me what ward they are if they're calling in.
Patrick White?
Hi, I'm Patrick White, running for mayor. I believe I live in Ward 5. I tend to get them mixed up.
Thank you. Will Emmons?
Yes, hi, Will Emmons, Ward 3, and also longtime Ward 4, run for mayor.
Great, thanks. Rep Emma?
Morning, folks. Morning. Oh my God, it's been a long day on Zoom. Good morning for tomorrow and good evening for tonight. I'm Representative Emma Mulvaney-Stanek. I represent Chittenden 6-2. I was just making sure who was paying attention, which is it's the southern portion of the New North End, so Wards 4 and 7, and then the west side of Ward 3 where I live.
Great, thanks. Hi, Martine.
Hi, everybody. Martine LaRock-Ulick. I am the Ward 4 School Commissioner.
I think you skipped Franklin.
All right. I see him a little bit later on my view. Linda next. Linda. Sorry. Yes.
You mean me? Linda Della Duca, Ward 7, and I'm the timekeeper, and I'm on the steering committee. And so all the candidates will know. I will hold up a red thing when you have 30 seconds left on your time slot.
Thanks, Linda. To Lindra.
I'm Lindra Mordyke, and I live in Ward 7.
Thank you. Zoe. Hi, Zoe. Can you unmute and introduce yourself and which ward you're in?
It looks like Zoe's been on a phone call for a little while, so that might need to wait till later.
All right. Keenan.
Hi, I'm Kienan Christianson, local community organizer, attorney, and running for the North District City Council seat. It's great to see everyone.
Thanks, Keenan. Travis.
Hi, everybody. I'm Travis. I'm Keenan's husband, and I live in Ward 7.
Thanks, Travis. Franklin Polino.
Hi, everyone. I live in Ward 7, and I am the city councilor for the North District.
Thank you. Eric. Eric and Karen. Eric is on the steering committee and he's in Ward 4 as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, Eric Corbman, Ward 4 Steering Committee.
Thanks. Nancy?
Nancy Comstock, Ward 7.
Thank you. Paul Constantino?
Hi, Paul and Maricela Constantino, Ward 7.
Thank you. Carly?
I'm Carly Bennett. I'm also Ward 7 resident.
Thanks. Monica?
Hi, everyone. I'm Monica Ivancic, and I'm Ward 7 School Commissioner.
Thanks,
Great to
Monica.
see everyone here.
You too. Bob Hooper?
Hi, Bob Hooper, Ward 4, State Rep, Retirement Board Chair. Thank you.
Welcome. Leacher Hune?
Leacher Hune, Ward 4. Hi.
Thank you. Kendra?
Hi, Kendra Sowers. I live in Ward 4 and I'm the North District School Commissioner.
Matt?
Matt Hurlbert, Ward 7 Steering Committee.
Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Barlow, Ward 4. I'm a Parks Commissioner and a North District City Council candidate.
Thanks, Mark. Muffy Millens?
I'm Muffy Mylans, Ward 7.
Carol Odie?
Hi, I'm Carol Odie. I live in Ward 4 and I'm a state representative of Chittenden District 6-1.
Susie?
Haas and Ward 4.
Thanks, Susie. Max Tracy?
Max Tracy, a city councilor for Ward 2, also city council president and candidate for mayor.
Thanks, Max. Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy Livingston. I live in Ward 4.
Thanks, Amy. Amy Bilowski, Branch? Go on to Judy Rivers. And we'll go on to, hi, Martha. Martha Mulpus.
Martha Mulpus, Ward 7.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute before. I'm Judy Verbers from Ward 7.
Thanks, Judy. No problem. Alexander Stith.
I'm Alexander Stith, Ward 7.
Anna.
Anna Nemec, Ward 4.
Thank you. Taistia.
It's Taisha Green, Ward 7.
Thank you. Robert Kieran. Samantha.
Hi, my name's Samantha. I work on Miro's campaign for mayor, and I am not in Burlington. I'm calling in from Hancock, Vermont tonight.
All right, Samantha. Erica Reddick.
Hi there, I'm Erica Reddick, and I'm a Ward 4 resident.
Thanks, Erica. Clary Buckley.
Hi, I'm live in Ward 4.
Thank you. Sarah Keeney. Martha Friedman.
Hi, my name is Martha Friedman. I'm in Ward 4.
Spencer,
Eric and Holly Spencer, Ward 4.
Andrew Sullivan,
Andrew Sullivan, Ward 7.
thank you. Sylvia Knight,
Yeah, Sylvia Knight, Ward 7. Clear Point.
great, thank you. Denise Call,
Hi, Denise Call, Ward 4.
James Loop, Jake Schuman,
Hey, Jake Schuman, Ward 7. Just thought I'd mention that today is Homelessness Awareness Day in Vermont.
thanks. Jordan Riddell,
Hi there, I'm Jordan Riddell. I'm Mayor Weinberger's Chief of Staff.
John Murad,
Hi, I'm John Murad. I'm a resident of the New North End, along with my wife, Vonnie Murad.
Carter Newbiser,
Hey, how are you? I work on Max Tracy's campaign and I live in Ward 4.
Mary, I see Robert.
You mean me?
Yes.
Robert Bristow Johnson. I'm in Ward 7, and I used to be as far north as you get, but now Jake Schuman is farther north than me.
Welcome. Did I get everybody? If I didn't, please introduce yourself and your ward.
This is Robert Kienan. I had a little trouble with my connection earlier. I'm downtown in Ward 3.
All right, well, we are going to start off with announcements, if anyone has any. About 30 seconds. And I'll ask fellow steerers to help me to see if any hands are up.
Can I make one quick announcement?
Sure, go Robert.
So this noon on Channel 17, we had a little bit of a debate on ranked choice voting, and I was a panelist in that. And if you go to the Channel 7 site, you can find it and view it. There's about a half an hour of Jack Hansen spelling out his reasons for supporting it, and then I have a portion of it, and then I have a discussion or an argument, however you want to call it, with Terry Barishis, who is the person who brought instant runoff voting to Burlington back in the 2000 knots. So my position is a little different than anybody who's just simply for it or simply against it. My position is that I'm for ranked choice voting, but we should vote against question 4, which will be the number of that question on the ballot coming up.
All right, I have an item as well. There is a all wards NPA meeting coming up on Tuesday, February 2nd at 6:30. It's put together by a member from each one of the wards. It's meant to be a panel of our mayor candidates, and half will also be ballot items, a ballot item forum. So we're in the midst of putting that together, but it's Tuesday, February 2nd at 6:30. Should see information on Front Porch Forum and all the wards, and ours in 4 and 7 as well. There's going to be a questionnaire through Front Porch Forum to give us questions for the mayor candidates. Also, we have a nomination for a new steering committee member from Ward 7. If a couple members from Ward 7 could nominate Karen, that would be great.
Yes, Jeff, I would like to nominate Karen Durfee as a new member for the Ward 7 Steering Committee.
Any seconds?
I can second that.
All right. Thank you. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Well, how about if we sort of officially take anybody who is in Ward 7 is allowed to weigh in on this vote? All those in favor of adding Karen Durfee to the Ward 7 Steering Committee?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you very much, folks. Karen?
Thank
See you at
you.
the next steering committee meeting.
All right. Thank you.
Any other quick announcements? We're running up on.
Keenan has his hand up,
All
or
right,
he's just
Keenan.
waving really happily.
I just have a quick announcement. So I'm posting into the chat the donation link for the New North End Food Pantry. We had about 25 neighbors standing outside in the cold last weekend. So if folks are able to, please donate. It really means a lot to the pantry. And I'm going to pledge to donate $100 tonight. So if you're able to, please donate as well. We'll really help our neighbors who are really struggling right now.
Great, thanks.
Jeff, can I just ask who's doing waiting room? I've got somebody that's texted me that can't get in.
Well, it's Linda and
That would
Jen.
be on me or Eric.
Yeah, we have Abby Duke and Kate McDowell, but I don't know their ward numbers. Anyone?
Abby Duke is Ward 7. I don't know Kate
I'll
McDowell.
admit it. Anyone know Kate?
No, but I don't see TJ in here anywhere.
Okay, I'll have him resubmit.
Kate lives in the New North End. I'm quite sure.
Yeah,
of that, but
Kate looks in the.
Okay.
I got in. This is TJ. I got in.
Great. So we'll get started with our elected officials. We'll start off with our state reps. Bob or Carol?
Okay, I'd be happy to go. Okay, so 3 things are happening right now with our budget. 1, there's the Budget Adjustment Act. 2, there's the budget itself. And 3, there are CARES Act 2 money coming. So with the Budget Adjustment Act, that is meant to make technical adjustments to the already existing budget that we're in the year that we're in. It recalibrates to make sure the budget's still in balance and revenues and expenditures are in sync, and to make adjustments as necessary. We're going to be taking that up on the floor tomorrow in the House. But I can tell you some very good news, I think, that I hope should happen, both in our House Budget Adjustment Act and in the governor's budget adjustment proposal. The amount of $3.5 million is there on a line to help with taking into account BHS's retrofit at the Macy's building. So this is a big deal, and it is very exciting. And I haven't heard much about it because, like a duck gliding on water, a lot of people have had their feet moving very fast under the water to get this to happen. So let's just hope, we'll work really hard, all of us here, to get that happening tomorrow and the next day on the floor for the vote. Let's see.
Carol, you're going to be limited to about 2.5 or 3 minutes tonight.
Okay. So then the next thing I'll tell you is, in the closing days of 2020, you know this already, Congress passed an economic stimulus package referred to as CARES 2. And the amount for Vermont could be anywhere between 1.4 million to 1.4 to 2.5 billion dollars. But the difference, you saw us give out, the legislature, we gave out $1.25 billion in CARES Act 1 money. But this time, most of that money will go straight to wherever it's being allocated to by the federal government. And we will probably only have about 650 million for us to be giving out, the legislature to be giving out this time. And it's going to be a very complicated process with federal guidance changing all the times and different regulations and so forth. So, you know,
Oh, your time is up. I'm sorry.
So we'll be working hard on that.
Bob Hooper?
Well, I'll pick up on that. And the money that's coming this time is limited, but I've been in touch with Bernie's office and they think that the next round of money that comes is going to be pretty much unrestricted. A lot of problems we had the last time was, here's some money, you can't spend it on this. And that turned into problems. A quick rundown, I'm on GovOps in the House. We've already gotten the bill out on voting procedures for town meeting day. We're taking up the new agency of public safety at this point. Any of the retirement issues, teachers, state employees, and other retirement plans will be coming through us. We're working on the executive order. We've already put out some interesting stuff on public records retrieval. There was a lawsuit filed yesterday for a lot of the town clerks on not being open because real estate people want to be in doing record searches. We're taking up prohibited candidate expenditures in terms of political campaigns. Town charters are starting to come in. We expect to have one for Burlington, but we've already gotten one on Essex, Berry, and Williston. Our budget, I mean, Scott's budget presentation was excellent in the context of all of a sudden we seem to have a lot of money and it's going some really good places. We were all really happy to hear about the Burlington High School thing, as Carol mentioned. So all in all, I think Vermont's doing really well and always available to take questions. Thanks.
And Emma, would you like to add to that?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Can't hear you,
Sorry,
Emma.
Emma, we can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awkward. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. I was just introducing my assistant tonight, Ruby. This is my daughter, who is a Burlington High School student someday. I'm going to try not to repeat what my colleagues have already said, although I just want to say I'm very crossing my fingers that the BHS money travels through on the Budget Adjustment Act this week, so stay tuned. So I serve on the House Commerce and Economic Development Committee, which my predecessor, Gene O'Sullivan, served on. So Burlington is well represented in those conversations, which is good. That committee, just in terms of comparable, I knew she was gonna do this, comparable things that would be relatable to folks include things like workers' compensation. We'll do some work on unemployment this session, and any other federal dollars for COVID relief will also in part come through our committee. We also do a lot on business regulation and work obviously around community and economic development in the state. I'll just briefly say, I do have 2 standing open community meetings I offer to folks over Zoom. It's the second Tuesday of the month, and from 8 to 9, I'll put this in the chat in the morning, and a second one on the 4th Sunday of the month from 4 to 5 p.m. Unfortunately for now by Zoom, but I'll send that out and anyone's welcome to attend. It doesn't matter where you live in Burlington. I'll have some bills going forward on unemployment because I think we learned a lot, unfortunately, not in great ways in 2020. I know some of you have reached out to me already on unemployment to help navigate the very tricky nature of it. So look forward to talking to folks more about that. And I'm always open for more conversation about whatever your priority is. And I'm just an email or a text or a phone call away. Thank you, folks.
All right, we'll go to city councilors.
Hi, I'm gonna speak to you all later in the evening about our ballot items, of which there are 6. And that's been really consuming a better part of our time for the last 2 months in terms of getting those ready to get onto the ballot. So I won't kind of repeat those. You of course know we've had significant discussions about public safety and the police and how to handle our immediate need for coverage today and our long-term need to have alternate public safety plans. We've not gotten on board the consultants that I think that we need to have to help exercise both an assessment of our current public safety system, as well as, that's one consultant. There's another consultant that will be looking at community outreach and community programs and alternate programs. And unfortunately, neither of those contracts are executed. I think the assessment contract is this week, and I'm not quite sure where the other one is. So that has occupied much of our time, again, in these last couple of months.
Okay.
I know we had Franklin on earlier. I'm not seeing him on the scroll through.
Hi there. I just want to take a moment and say it's nice to be in an NPA meeting, and we have, I think, 69 participants right now. We should be quite proud of ourselves. We're about to enter a pretty big election. It's going to be another weird one with mail-in ballots that are going to go out soon. So all that is really exciting. And it's been, I agree, we missed one, and I miss coming to these, and I miss seeing everyone in person. So it's just nice to scroll down the list and see people's names who, you know, we see all the time. I do want to give a shout out to Mark Barlow and Keenan Christianson for running for office for North District. Very exciting. And both good people that are going to do things for our community regardless of the result. So I want to talk about something pretty significant that's been in the works. It's been a little bit of a headache for some people for a long time, and it's the bike path relocation. So for those of you who may not be in tune to that issue, it's been going on for a while, where there's been an initiative to want to essentially make the bike path continuous between basically in front of Echo to the part where you take the ferry instead of hopping over to the train station side. And that the reason that's such a big lift for the city, as you guys can imagine, the staff's already pretty overburdened with normal day-to-day stuff, and doing that transaction required negotiating with the state for the railroad property, negotiating with, you know, the city property and Echo, which is obviously a very big venue for us. But basically it's getting done. It's going to be relocated to the west side. So, and it's all going to be new. There's going to be a transformer there for the train. That's going to allow Amtrak to come to Burlington and stop there. As I understand it, the other big lift is that the train's going to now be parked at the rail yard. And basically it was a big headache. It could have been a big headache for us, for our waterfront, for what I feel is the most desirable real estate in Burlington. And somehow it just worked out. Within a year, this problem was worked out, given all the players involved, the rail yard, the state of Vermont property, and the homeowners there as well. So that's the big issue that just passed, as well as, I'm sure you guys have been in tune, an issue that's received a lot of feedback from people is the police staffing issue.
Franklin, I'm sorry, but your time is up. But
Right.
I'd
Thank
like
you,
to
Linda.
give a big shout out to Franklin, because he has been an outstanding city councilor for us in the New North End. And this is probably going to be his last, well, no, February will be your last meeting, official meeting, Franklin. But thanks
I'll
for
be
all
around.
the work.
Thank you,
Okay.
Linda.
Now it's school board, right?
Yeah, and who would someone like to speak on behalf of others, or each one of you would like to go? Monica, I see.
Martine's here.
I think we're each going to
Here, and
speak. If that's
Kendra.
okay.
Okay.
And
Your time's
Kendra,
already started, so get
Okay,
going.
I'm gonna launch right into it then.
all right,
Good.
Martine.
We're sorry, we're just running really tight tonight.
That's okay. Nice to see everybody here tonight. Thank you for showing up. I just have a couple quick updates. The first one being that we have moved into phase 2 of BHS downtown. We're no longer calling it Macy's. It is now either DT downtown BHS or BHS downtown. I was lucky enough to be able to tour it a while back when the walls were just starting to go up. And I toured it with the 3 owners / builders, Mr. Ireland, Senecal, and Farrington. And it was a really great experience. So basically, in the next few weeks, the IT department's going to get in there. Food service is going to go and, just sort of set up their plan. And then in early March 2nd and 3rd, faculty and staff will start moving their various, teaching realia and so forth into the building, out of BHS and into downtown BHS. So there'll be a few days where there won't be school for kids so that teachers can make that move. And then the plan is for school to start in our new location on March 4th for A students and March 5th for the B group students. So that's just an update on that. It's exciting. It's a great location. I do want folks to have their expectations, to be realistic. It is a great space. It's exciting to be downtown. It's not, it's not like having a permanent building. So, as exciting as it is, I do hope folks have realistic expectations of what it is, for the time being. So with that said, I also wanted to update you briefly about the high school. As co-chair of the facilities committee, I've been working with the BCOC, which is the Building Construction and Oversight Committee. And basically, we're just awaiting test results from soil samples and air samples. And they will probably be arriving sometime around February 8th. But right now, the name of the game is soil testing and air testing to see what our next moves are going to be. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if folks have those as well. Or try
You
to answer.
would be, but you're out of time.
Oh, okay.
Encouraging people to contact people outside the meeting if you have further questions, unfortunately. Monica.
I would like to talk about the school budget, which we will be voting on town meeting day. A week ago, the school board passed a budget and it was mainstreamed this year. And I would like to share my screen to go over a couple slides. So typically when we do the budget, we look at the base budget, what we are spending this year, and then what we need to add to the budget and what we can take out of the budget. And so our baseline growth, so the numbers in black is what we need to add to the budget for this year. And the 2.8 million in baseline growth, that's essentially baseline budget growth. So increases in budget spending, such as increases in wages and benefits. And also it includes $500,000 debt service. And then this money also includes a $100,000 spending for our strategic plan. So we will be coming up with a revamped strategic plan in the next few months. And so we wanted some money to be able to implement it. And then it also includes $125,000 to support our multilingual liaisons, because our district wouldn't function effectively without these liaisons who communicate to our new American families and non-English speakers. The $2.4 million, this BTC relocation is a typo there, is for our move to have to go to downtown. So this includes rent. At this point, this number here also includes the $720,000. So we did get the good news that Carol Odie mentioned that the Vermont State is going to spring for the $3.5 million to revamp the Macy's building to get us the BTC downtown. But every year we're going to be spending rent, and this sadly is distributed to us Burlington taxpayers.
Monica, your time is up.
Okay, so I just the tax scenario, there's a
no, your time literally is up right now. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, we can talk about it more next month.
Right. Or people can contact you.
Yes, please email me. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thanks, Monica and Kendra. Kendra, we had you on the agenda as unopposed for your seat. Then we had learned that someone was running against you. Can you clear that up for us?
Yes, I think I just found out that the person who thought they were running can't run because they are a teacher in the district. So I believe I'm still unopposed. And if you'd like, I'm happy to just speak for, I know time is of the essence, so I will speak. I could speak briefly now, or I could wait to the end. You guys tell me what is best.
Do it right now. We'll give you 2.5 minutes.
Okay, here we go. I'll be brief. So I want to just tell you what I have been doing the past couple of years and the projects that I'm working on now. I'm very happy to be your school commissioner, and I'm excited to continue in that role. So I have served as the Tech Center liaison, and I'm on the Regional Tech Center Advisory Board, and I continue to be on that as a leading voice for our Tech Center. I am part of the, last year I was part of the Facilities and Finance Committee as co-chair, and we decided to divide those committees up. And so this year I am the co-chair of the Finance Committee, which is a big committee. And part of that committee, what we've been spearheading a coalition of school districts all over the state in order to advocate for updating the per pupil weights, which I know we've talked to you before, and these weights are used to provide additional funding for students that require more resources. So we had this great meeting last night with our local legislators about that. We're looking forward to more advocacy on that issue because it's a big issue and it has huge resource ramifications for our district. And so I'm excited to be continuing to pursue that, and hopefully I'm going to be pursuing that this year. I have to say that I have really found being on the school board rewarding, and it's also a lot of hard work. You know, we're advocates for the children and their educational needs in the district. We support the teachers and the administrators, and we take our fiduciary responsibilities to you, our taxpayers, really seriously. So this is often a difficult balancing act. We're elected officials, but unpaid volunteers, and we're doing the best we can to serve the needs of all of our stakeholders. So I just want to give a shout out to my other two fellow school commissioners, Martine Gulick and Monica Ivanchik. So thank you guys. And I'm really committed to this work, and I firmly believe that that providing the best education for our children is really important. And I appreciate all of you who support and help us in this valuable work. I always welcome your thoughts, comments, feedback. Our emails can be found on the BSD website. So please be in touch, and I hope I can count on your vote. How's that for succinct?
Awesome. Thank you, Kendra.
Okay.
So Linda, we're back on track, 7:40.
I know. Thank you, Kendra. We're right on time.
Do we have, I believe we were looking for 5 mayor candidates. Are they all 5 here?
I think so. I think we have 5 or 6. So why don't we, you can start off, and basically candidates have, I think what we said, 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And then we'll open it up after everybody's given their 2 minutes. Then we'll open it up to question and answers for the rest of the time.
It is. And please keep in mind when you see Linda's red card, that means you have 30 seconds left with your 2 minutes.
If you can't see me, I'll just be very quietly tell you you're done.
So we'll start off with Councilor Dieng. And if he is in here.
Councilor Dieng is here, sir.
All right, welcome.
Thank you.
So 2 minutes, and then we'll pass it to the next candidate. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. So as you all know, thank you for my appointments, all of them, to come to the North District. This is my home. This is my base, and these are my people. And thank you, NPAs, also for bringing us together tonight to talk about this mayoral race, because we do believe that a lot is on stake right now. And I just wish the voters to make an informed decision because in the next 3 years, things will be critical. And it would be important to be mindful about who should lead the city to the best it can be. 13 years ago, I came to this country, not speaking the language and not understanding the culture. But I began working with Burlington children and our community school, which gave me a great insight onto this community and its values. 13 years later, I am right here in front of you to become the next mayor of the city of Burlington. I know our community, including those most underserved and disenfranchised. I have worked tirelessly through my life and career for justice and to bring the voices of the underrepresented in the forefront through my work in the Burlington School District and also in the community. I have accomplished so much, bringing people together, design projects and programs geared toward giving people the hope and confidence to meet their life's goals. And all of my accomplishments have been done through collaboration with others. I have accomplished so much without a political party or backbone organization, but rather with just a passion of service and love to Burlington and its people. And when I say Burlington and its people, I meant every single person. So as the next mayor, I would like to fight the public health crisis with expertise and leadership. Public health includes also the opiate crisis, taking our sons and daughters every single day. Confront racial biases. As a person of color, I know how it feels to not to be discriminated, to experience racism. I want to support our youth with collaboration by strengthening the collaboration with the Burlington School District. Taxes are so high in the city. Fiscal responsibility and transparency back to budgeting is something that I would want to accomplish. DID, which is a downtown improvement district, came here a couple years ago. It was rushed, it failed, it died. I want to bring it back for our downtown to become publicly owned and also operated. I want to also restructure the government services department and tackle the infrastructure upgrade that we so muchly and desperately need. And I want to eradicate homelessness as well through a different model, through innovation and housing model. The office.
I'm really sorry, but someone's hacking in, so I'm going to need to kick them off really quickly. I apologize.
Okay, Ollie, you're done with time.
You need help.
So it looks like whoever set this up basically made it so everybody had audio, visual, and screen share privileges. And so there was two people in here that started pulling, there was two different people that basically just started screen sharing because they all had privileges. Yeah. So whoever the mod is on this can go in there and should be able to change the privileges for each member individually.
Yes, please do.
Just that there were people on here who weren't supposed to be here that were able to screen share.
That was a bit more exciting than I thought this meeting was going to be.
Jeff Clark, what's up?
What? I guess so. That's just what he said. Yeah, there are two people doing it, but they're gone now. So it's okay.
Hey, just so everyone knows, you are unmuted, so you do need to manually mute yourselves.
What I did, Jeff Clark, was just shut everybody down. I'm going to go back online, and you can talk to me there, okay?
Looks like we're back to about 50%.
Well, I'm pulling up more people that I know.
You can mute us.
We have two Linda Della Ducas. That's pretty surreal.
You need more than one of me. One of me is enough.
One of you is masked.
One of that's Jim Holloway's alter ego.
Yeah, well, basically, you're using a VCAP website, and Jim and I know how to sign into the VCAP website, and we both sign in under the address for the VCAP website. That's why it comes up as the same person.
So guys, to Will's point, has the screen share been taken away from folks? Because I'd prefer
Yes.
not to have to.
Yes, it
Okay,
has.
thank you.
So we'll wait a couple minutes for others to join
Yeah,
before
well,
we.
I'll let the meeting go a little bit longer tonight, just because this really wasn't.
I seem to still have screen share.
Yeah, I do too.
Only one participant should share.
I can't remember how to do it on this side, but there should be, whoever's the mod on this should have options down in more, I would think. And be able to manually disable screen share either for the whole meeting or for people individually.
Okay, now we got a set.
Okay, there's still a lot of people in the weight room that I don't know. And so I'm going to leave that to Jenna and Eric to go through and get those people. There are like 14 people waiting. But I think you are,
Yeah, you'll have to host me, make me a host again.
your co-host again. And let me get Jenna back on.
Jenna, can you let Taisha Green in?
Jenna can't yet because I have to make her a co-host.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking for her. Eric, let her in. Well, I'm looking for Jenna, who hasn't.
I mean, I don't have the power, but I recognize most people.
Well, yeah, and we don't really, we have people who are in charge of doing that. That's why
Okay.
they're supposed to be, they're doing it.
Good. I don't know. I don't know what screen sharing is, but it looks like there's an arrow. And I just went through and tried to shut the.
TJ just clarified in the chat, there should be a security tab for the host.
How do you show chat, if you don't mind me asking?
If you just click down on the bubble where it says chat, if you click that, it should pop up a sidebar for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Can someone who's not a host try to share now and just confirm that it doesn't share?
Says that it's blocked.
I can confirm that my screen share does not allow me to.
I am no longer allowed to share my screen either. This is Matt.
Yeah, it's
Okay, all set then.
Or am I?
Who's managing the waiting room again?
Jenna and Eric are managing the waiting room.
So, yeah, so we're still working our way through the waiting room. So you can just rejoin. Hey, right.
Great. Councilor Dieng, do you believe you finished your 2 minutes?
He had finished his 2 minutes. We're going to start with the next person.
Okay.
But we need to give them a few more minutes. They're still working through. There are about 10 or so people that are still in the wait room
Okay.
that we got to get.
Wait 2 more minutes.
I would love to have maybe a minute to finish because it seems many people were not paying attention in one point.
Well, you won't have a minute. You can have 30 seconds, but
Yeah.
Ollie, we're really, really tight tonight in order to get everything in. And if we give you extra time, it shorts somebody on the other end.
Could I read off some names of the waiting room?
At this point.
Does anyone know Bernie Carver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's okay. Okay. How about Denise Call?
Yes.
Yes, she was in.
Call's okay. Yes.
Apple tree.
Yes.
Edward Murphy.
Yes.
Yes.
Ellen Hacker. That's okay. Okay, how about Denise Call?
Yes.
Okay. Ellen Hacker.
I didn't hear anybody say anything about
Okay,
that.
I'll leave that one. Here. Julia Shannon Grillo.
Yes, I know her.
Christy Swanson,
Yes, I know her.
Pat Quinlan, okay.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
I'm not in yet.
Who are you? Okay, everybody's in except somebody Ellen Hacker and somebody Andrew Sullivan and a Kara. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Andrew Sullivan's good.
Andrew Sullivan's good. Okay.
One of the two
Kara?
people that did the screen share was like a Karen or a something like that. The other one was a name that started with a J.
Jenna? Okay, there are only two people in the weight room. A Kara, ALNSAAL.
Alna's Rari, I know her. She's a city employee.
Okay. Ellen Hacker, Stephen Hamlin.
Well, Stephen Hamlin, it says Ward 7.
Okay, Ellen Hacker. Okay, I'll send her a note and ask her. A guy, Lee Trehune, I know. Tyler Pastovic. Ellen Hacker. Yes. Stephen Hamlin.
I'm in now.
Ellen Hacker.
Oh, this is just nuts.
Okay, we've got everybody in that's called back in.
Right, Councilor Dieng, 30 seconds to wrap up. Thanks for your patience, everybody.
Well, folks need to mute.
I'll mute everybody, just a minute. Okay, everybody should be muted. Oh, there are a couple of people that I don't know. Holly Spencer. Okay, they can stay out.
I know her. I know her.
Okay, and then there's somebody that is not, I will send him a message because I have no idea who they are. Go ahead and start. I can do the timekeeping. Ollie gets another, 30 seconds.
Okay, thanks.
Sounds good. All right, thank you. And sorry, everyone, for what just happened. So, I mean, I think I've been doing an incredible job representing people of the New North End with passion and dedication to this work, and reason why they've been electing me over and over and over again. So now I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to keep on serving you in a deeper and meaningful level geared towards systemic change for the betterment of all. Thank you so much. And as you all know, Wellingtonians are tired and we need change, and the change is in front of you. Have a good day. Thanks.
Great, thanks. Do we have Mayor Weinberger?
We do, Jeff. Can I just get a clarification? I thought the instructions were we were gonna just how's it? Can you just clarify how it's gonna work? I thought it was gonna, everyone was gonna have their whole 8 minutes and then move on to the next person. Seems like it's going differently.
Yeah, we're doing 2 minutes introduction, and then we're going to do 20 minutes of Q&A.
Okay.
For everyone.
Okay, great. Well, thank you to the Ward 47 NPA for bringing us together tonight. I look forward to the day when we can gather again in person and I can resume the Wednesday morning coffees at the Bagel Cafe that have become a weekly New North End tradition over the last decade. But while better times are coming, for now, we continue to grapple with multiple simultaneous crises: a pandemic, a historic recession, a long overdue reckoning on racial justice, and an accelerating climate emergency. Moments like this demand proven leadership. Moments like this are no time for a mayor to be learning on the job. We've been through so many challenges together and created so many opportunities for Burlington over the last 9 years. And in the last 10 months, the pandemic has galvanized our community like never before. We remade city government to support Burlingtonians throughout the crisis. We launched dozens of new initiatives that combined with the community's vigilance, have made Burlington one of the safest cities in America throughout this pandemic. If you give me the opportunity to continue leading this great city, this is the kind of relentless commitment I will bring to leading the economic recovery and addressing our other major crises. Here's another commitment from me. While in this office, I will do everything I can to ensure that we keep Burlingtonians safe by investing in and supporting a professional and well-resourced police department. It is stunning and concerning to me that the other candidates in this race who serve on the city council do not share this priority. I say that because this past Monday, my public safety continuity plan was in front of the city council for action. This plan would have addressed the crisis created by the council last summer when it eliminated 30% of our officer positions without a strategy for moving forward. The police commission has now called for the continuity plan to be approved with minor modifications, and a remarkable tripartisan group of 19 former city councilors and a past mayor have endorsed our plan. And still, the other councilors in this race are unwilling to support it. The plan will be back in front of the council on February 8th, and I again urge the city council to approve it. Thank you again to the Wards 47 NPA for organizing this discussion. I look forward to your questions and the opportunity to discuss our plans over the course of the night.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Miro.
Thank you, Linda.
All right, thank you. Max Tracy, next.
Well, thank you so much for having me here tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this this community discussion, and just really appreciate the NPA steering committee for hosting this and communicating with us in advance. And I just really appreciate all your work on bringing people together in this tough times, because certainly our community is struggling, and raising a family, paying rent, property taxes, keeping small businesses going are hard during normal times. And we're in a position where nothing feels like normal. And even if we feel like we're getting by well enough, we can be sure that we've got neighbors down the street or across town who are in need of something better than the status quo. I'm running for mayor to make Burlington a city where, one, all can afford to live, especially low and moderate income folks, as well as those living on fixed incomes whose budgets are under strain. Two, city government is accessible to all, transparent and accountable with its actions. And three, we invest in a vibrant future for the community using progressive policies that lift the local economy, expand sustainable transportation, clean up our lake, uproot systemic racism, and reduce our impact on the climate. And there are some clear ways forward to create this better vision for all. We must end the trend of working people and families being priced out of Burlington. Property taxes, rent, childcare, and utility costs are too high, and they're preventing so many people from being able to put down stable roots in Burlington. We must elect trustworthy, responsible, and experienced leaders who will address our current challenges, not create new ones. And we must do all that we can to create a more resilient and connected community so that everyone, from individuals and families to our small businesses and schools, can weather this storm and come out stronger together on the other side. More of the same is not enough. I'm committed to working with all of you to do better for all of us. I believe that together, we can and we will build the future that we deserve.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have Patrick White?
I'm here.
All right.
Oh, your time has started.
Perfect. Well, so because I'm new to all this, first of all, thank you for having me here. Thank you everybody for coming. That interruption was a bit more wild than I thought this was going to get. generally, I just kind of want to paint with broad strokes as far as my stances on things and my primary focuses. Everyone, of course, is focused on police reform. I am as well. Police reform has been something that we needed to address, decades ago, probably before I was even born. It's high time for us to have a renewed focus on public safety that isn't so much on, punishment and putting people in prison, but making sure our communities are safe and moving away from maybe a purely armed force. One of the biggest things that I'm focused on as well is the sewage treatment plant, which I keep not hearing from some of the more established people in this race. It seems to fall to the wayside. Instead of taking care of the millions of gallons of sewage that we dump into the lake, we're gentrifying a park. That's something that's very important to me to get solved post haste. It should have been fixed years ago. Next up, the pit, of course. We need to fill that pit with a building that actually benefits our community. We need more housing. We need more business space there on Church Street, and really anything other than an empty hole in the ground would be better. Further from that, getting city spending under control would be an absolute boon. We have almost 400 million in debt, I believe, and getting that down would be a great gift to our children and their children.
Okay, Patrick, thank you.
Yeah.
Will Emmons?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. William Emmons, longtime community advocate and all over the place in America, actually, but also a longtime Burlington resident. I've been around since Ward 4. I know a lot of people that are on this meeting. Either we grew up together or we bumped heads, whether it was me doing advocacy work, helping somebody with their court case arguments, or even liaisoning with a police officer. I've definitely share what people are saying about frustration. I know that there's a couple of officers have voiced frustration with me as well. And there's a definite us versus them feeling in the city of Burlington. I haven't seen a lot of things. There's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, related in the news to the job site, City Place, Memorial Auditorium. That's pretty easy. You have to open it back up, refurbish it first. Safe gatherings. We've seen all social gatherings decline way before coronavirus ever showed up. Air quality. I live off Front Street. I can't seem to get a breath of fresh air there sometimes. But in any case, youth basketball coach, volunteer for Chill Snowboards Burlington. I was also a product of that. I was in college on a single parent scholarship. My activism work has certainly caught up with me a little bit, and I'm actually dressed up, not for this meeting tonight, but for the court date I got at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is, seems like another day, another dollar with that stuff. And, but I just wanted to say that as far as Burlington, it's a thriving city. It once was a thriving city, was dying down way before coronavirus with social gatherings being dismantled. And I intend to bring those back in a safe manner. And, as far as citizens working together, the citizens own this city. We need more ownership units. We need to treat our lake better. We need to clean it up. I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey. This place should be easy to have a waterfront like that. It's just, you have to know how to maintain it. And experience is how we got in this mess. Extreme education is how we caused so much division. That's where we're at right now. And I would like to change that. Thank you.
Okay, your time's up.
Great. So any other candidates? I know there was a chance that we could have two more.
Okay.
No other candidates.
So-
We'll start asking questions. You can direct your question to a candidate or to all candidates.
I'm going to unmute people. All right. I hope I can.
Raise your
No,
hand.
you're going to have to unmute yourself. But
You hear me?
Hi, folks. I would also add that if you want to
submit a question using the chat forum. We will be following that and transfer that to the speaker for you.
Could I interrupt for a second? There's more people in the waiting room. I don't know if somebody could tell me.
Yeah, Eric, they won't identify their ward, and since we had the experience earlier, they're in purgatory.
Okay.
Any hands for questions?
So I'll throw this out to all the candidates. Mr. Emmon said something that like, anything is better than the pit that we have now. I wonder if it's possible to make a premature decision. I wonder if it's possible to act too quickly and put the wrong thing into the pit.
So that was actually me, and you are completely correct. We could definitely act too fast, and that's not at all my intention. It may sound like I'm somewhat hasty to get something done there, but really only the right project. Just throwing anything in there with the 2 minutes, I got to kind of slap everything together, but just throwing anything in there isn't the plan and definitely wouldn't benefit Burlington, but figuring out a project that's going to benefit the city that we can get done on a monetary scale that's realistic as well as a time scale.
That question was for me, sir, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer as well. The pit is a disaster. It's an intentionally created disaster. Please don't think that anything you've seen on the news other than a few truths, there's been a lot of misleading, such as the steel coming over to the job site and leaving. That was just a big PR stunt. I intend to bring a real, excuse me? I intend to bring a real plan in there, and it will be put before the citizens in full transparency mode, and they will be the deciders of what happens with City Place. And my suggestion would be something like the Freehold Raceway Mall, if you want to Google it, in New Jersey. I used to work there. It was very nice. Downtown has much potential. Church Street is a great place, and the vendors are losing money, and the bar owners and club owners and restaurant owners have, in similar capacities, voiced concern over, the loss of money that they're taking at this time. It could be better.
Do any other candidates have an answer for that?
Sure, I'm happy to speak to it. Jeff.
Go, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. What we're going to build there is what the voters voted for and what the citizens of Burlington, residents of Burlington, said they wanted in the extensive Plan BTV process, which is homes and jobs and reconnected streets. And the fact that the building is down, the failing suburban mall is down entirely at the developer's expense, actually puts us on the cusp of realizing that vision and returning this to being part of town, to being a vibrant neighborhood for the first time since the 1960s when it was torn down. What I would just say to folks is, if I get another opportunity to continue leading this great city for the next 3 years, we are going to deliver on that vision, just like this administration has delivered on rebuilding City Hall Park, rebuilding the entire northern waterfront, rebuilding almost the entire bike path, getting the Moran project into construction after 30 years of waiting. My administration is one with the persistence, the experience, and the focus to bring this project home, just like we've brought so many others over the last 9 years.
Thanks, Miro. Max, you were next.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This is certainly a project that we will actually not be building the project that was actually.
Where did he go?
This will be So this will actually not be the project that was voted on. That project is an abject failure. We see that with going on nearly 2 years, or no, actually 3 years of having a hole in the ground. And I think the reason for that is precisely because we rushed into this project, believed what we were told, and refused to take a different path when the options were, when it was patently obvious that this project was a failure. And so I think we need different leadership in order to bring us forward, because we've been in a place where we've just been stagnating for years now. And I oppose that. Can you please let me speak? So
Nancy, please mute.
So the project itself, I think moving forward, we need to make sure that we have real accountability built into any agreements moving forward, and we do not continue to give the developer whatever they want and however much time that they want on this project. If they're unable to meet milestones, we need to pursue legal action and be willing to hold them accountable. We also need to make sure that any public improvements do not fall to taxpayers and that we have real assurances around those moving forward. I do think that the inclusion of potentially union jobs in this project, as well as additional affordable housing, is a positive, and I look forward to continued collaboration on that front with the AFL-CIO and others. I think that's a real positive development within the project, but I think that we need to couple some of these changes within the project with real accountability and a different approach when it comes to handling large-scale developments in Burlington.
I think we might have to limit answers to about 30 seconds. 20 would be great. We have 3 people in the queue with questions. Erica Reddick.
May I answer the question, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I think if we think that proven leadership is having a pit underground for 3 years, then that's what voters want. I don't think that that's right. What is right is these developers who are now local, they dedicated to get this done. And they came to you, they came to us, to the council, but the city, this leadership wanted to bring them to court, which is completely unacceptable. We lost a lot of jobs, right? We lost tax base, and I think the change that is needed is needed now. Transparency has never been part of this project. And it is about time for you to make the informed decision in making sure that you won't see this ever again.
Okay.
We're moving on to the next question. Erica?
Thank you very much. My question is for Patrick. I was just checking out your Facebook page, and it looks like you're a libertarian, perhaps. And forgive me if I'm just hearing about you tonight. Can you say a little bit about how what your political leanings are, if not running as a party?
Most definitely. I did see your comments and likes on my Facebook. It popped up while we were doing this. So as far as my politics, I really don't fit any bill. On some issues, I think the Democratic Party would appreciate my thoughts. On others, the Republican Party may, and on many, the Libertarian Party may. I am not about big government. I think taxes should not be such a burden that they, put people into poverty or price them out of an area. When it comes down to it, I don't fit any one bill. As far as LGBTQ and trans rights, I think that the government needs to stay out of our pants, our bedrooms, and has no business, legislating who people are allowed to love. I'm pro-cannabis, I'm pro-business, I'm pro-employee. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Patrick. TJ, you were next.
Hi, thank you everyone for hosting this tonight. My questions for all the candidates last summer kind of drowned out by all the police reform issues was a economy resolution that was brought forward by the council. And in that proposal, there was a proposal to add an extra income tax on folks making $125,000 or more. There was also a luxury tax on anyone owning homes that are $500,000 or more. And if you listen to the news and NPR, they did a great story on Brave Little State where they said that actually it's a misconception that Vermont has high taxes for people that are—
DJ, what's your question?
Sure. My question is, what do you all think about those proposals? And especially when you have something like Brave State saying that actually low and moderate income Vermonters actually have a good deal in Vermont. So I've heard people talk about we need to make it affordable, but the city council is discussing these proposals.
Sir, my name is Will. I'm a longtime Burlington resident, and I'm wondering as much as you where the tax dollars are going and how it's going to break down. And I believe that everybody deserves to pay an equal or reasonable share compared to their finances, not to go up when it hits 105 or go down when it hits 104. In any case, I would also say, as far as tax dollars, it would be nice to see our tax revenue come back. And business makes so much tax revenue, and when Macy's was ran out of town, and a lot of their employees there lost either part of all of their retirements, we also lost a large Montreal tax base of shoppers that come down here for tax-free shopping. Thank you.
Let's keep our responses to 20 seconds, please. Max, do you want to go next?
Sure. I think that we are in a place as a community where we do need to explore progressive taxation sources that do ask those with the most in our community to contribute to addressing crucial community needs in Burlington. And one of those needs that we find a great and dire crisis existing around is our housing resources. And we have a great need for additional resources applied to our housing trust fund. So I don't know that I don't think that proposal got it totally right in terms of the luxury real estate transfer tax, that in terms of the amounts that were set. I think, though, that it does bear looking into the highest value properties getting charged a real estate transfer tax, meaning, I think that it makes sense to then apply that to the housing trust fund in order to fund low-income social housing, because we find so much desperation at the lower end. So I think that we need more public process around what exactly progressive sources.
You're running out of time, Max.
Okay. Yep.
Ali?
Is there a timer? Sorry, Ali. And thank you for helping me out today.
Yeah, there is a timer.
No problem. Thank you, TJ, for that incredible question. And I think most of the time we embed so much language in some of these resolutions that we do not even take the time to vet them, right? But I think what the city needs is not to go after those who have financial means. It is more to increase our tax base, and also to make sure that the taxes that we receive are also used wisely in making sure that social services and what progress you want to solve are coming elsewhere, but not from the tax, the people that have this tax.
Miro?
Thank you. I think.
Well, it's pretty remarkable to hear Max now say that proposal didn't get everything right, because he was a co-sponsor of that proposal. It's also pretty remarkable to hear him open with concern about rising costs and property taxes, when that just economy resolution would have driven businesses out of Burlington because of other elements of it. It would have very much added burden onto the residential property tax base and driven up the costs of homeowners and renters. It was an outrageous proposal. The fact that it was introduced in the middle of a pandemic, when we had real issues, real problems to be focused on, and when we didn't, as a community, couldn't really afford to get distracted on something that had gone through no due diligence, was really unfortunate.
Okay, Miro.
I think it's my turn, right?
Excuse me?
My turn?
Yes, Patrick.
So the assertion that taxpayers in Vermont are getting a fair shake is, I think, off the mark. I work in insurance, and so I see people leaving the state every week due to the high cost of living. I have friends down south, out west, and I have a friend who, owns what would be a $400,000 house here. He paid $200,000 for it in North Carolina and pays, I think it's like $1,200 a year in property tax. I personally can't buy a house here because the amount of property tax on anything decent in Chittenden County raises my mortgage payment to a point where the bank considers it unaffordable. To try and impose a tax on people with $500,000 plus houses.
Sorry.
Can I finish my sentence?
Patrick.
Okay.
Martine, your question, please.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll be quick, and I apologize if there is information that I don't know, because that is definitely possible. But around police staffing, this seems to be a very polarizing issue. I'm speaking as a citizen, not as a school commissioner, by the way. It's a very emotional issue. It really plays to our fears. And I'm wondering if we have looked, and I assume we have, the police commission best practices around same size cities in New England and maybe also up in Quebec. You know, what does the data point to in terms of what is the right size to have in terms of our city size and our level of crime? And that could be a question for commissioners as well. Thank you.
It's hard to gauge. A lot of what you see in Burlington right now is not actually what it is. For instance, homelessness days today, right? I know most of the homeless people in this town, and they're all in surrounding towns. I hope they don't vote there, because they will be back here as soon as elections are over. And those aren't the people that create the crime in this city. I'm just saying, when you have a fugazi, you have a situation where you can't really speculate on what it would be without seeing what it actually is. And I believe after elections, we're going to see what it actually is. I don't know. I just heard today that there's a 30% cut. That's interesting to me. I'm not sure 30% is the right number, but certainly there might be a couple officers that need to go. That being said, you really just have to look at the situation and play it by ear. And I feel like election times are coming up, and that's going to be something that's going to be a focal point.
We're going to go in reverse order this time. Miro, please.
Thanks for the question, Martine. So one of the elements of the plan that the council approved last summer that was most concerning is that they took a vote to reduce the department by 30% without seriously doing that work. There was some very conceptual analysis done of national averages that didn't take into account the fact that we have an airport, that didn't really get into the details of how a cap versus an average works. And that's one of the reasons why I'm pushing so hard for there to be a restoration. I don't really think looking just at national averages is the right way to decide things. Hopefully this assessment that we have funded and that is supposed to get underway here, that has been stuck at the joint committee of the city council for many months, hopefully that will do that work and allow us to make a good, well thought through, well vetted decision on the right staffing ultimately some months from now. But it's going to take some time. The continuity plan is a good interim step until that work has been done.
Patrick?
Well, I can't remember how many years ago, but I believe the city already had a consultant come in and give their recommendation on how many officers the city needed. And that number was ignored then and never actually filled. So I'm hoping that if we are going to be dedicating resources and city money, which is taxpayer money, to another consultant or to give us a recommendation, that we actually follow those recommendations and that money isn't wasted.
Max?
Thanks for the question. I think it's super important. We did look at a number of comparative cities that are similar to Burlington in making that number, as well as call volume, where we find that call volume has dropped 36%. Calls for service were down 36% since 2016. So we did see a significant drop in both in that, as well as a 37% decline in robberies, a 73% decline in burglaries, a 34% decline in sexual assaults, a 55% decline in larceny from buildings, and a 23% decline in domestic disturbances. So we've seen a variety of different crime down in a variety of important and impactful categories.
Sorry.
So we need to lean into efforts to transform our police department by building out direct social service supports. Thank you.
Sir, you said there was another question?
Sir, am I muted? No. I just wanted to know, is it possible to put the timer up on the screen, because it's hard to know how much time you have left.
No,
it's 20
I'm running it off my phone.
Oh, okay. All right.
All you could do, you could pin.
Picture reference, I wonder.
Use the pin and pin Linda Della Duca, and you can see her card come up. She holds up a red card.
Linda Della Duca.
Or you can just, let's not waste the time. We're running out of time for tonight.
Sorry about that. I just, point of information.
We're low tech here.
Yeah, same here. Tape deck.
Jeff Comstock, you said there was another question?
No, that was it. It was Martine's. You got it.
Any other questions? Any other hands?
I think Jake Schuman actually.
Jake, are you still here?
But may you allow me to respond, please?
Oh, sorry, Ellie, I did not.
Yeah, sorry, no problem. So, I mean, I think the question is an important one. Thank you, Martin, for asking. And I think, we need to go back also to when the racial justice resolution was introduced. I brought up a thoughtful amendment asking the council to take the time to do the study. We did not do it. But I think as the mayor, I would not even allow that resolution to pass. I would take my power to veto it because this is not how a leader should lead a city. Public safety is so important that I would not let partisan politics entrench our decision in moving forward. And to the other point about, yes, we delayed action last Monday. I think I did vote for the council to take action. And what I want to see forward is simply for the council to wait until the study is done in order to make that decision. And also, Brad, another resolution to ask the voters another metrics in trying to understand what people think, but it did fail. It is important to really go back, watch our voting records before you vote for much. Thank you.
Jeff, who was that other question?
Oh, so would you like me to ask?
Jake, yes.
So my question is primarily for Will and Patrick. I don't want to disparage anyone. I think that protest candidates are important in a democracy, and I think that they play an important role in elections. But to address the elephant in the room, you guys have a very outside chance in winning this election. But the role of protest candidates is generally that they affect where our
Ask your question, please.
goes. So my question for you is, what is the one thing that we are not talking about in Burlington that you would like us to discuss? In essence, why are you running when you know that you have no chance of winning?
Oh, sir, that's actually, I don't know if you could rephrase that because that's a leading question. You're just making me and him categorize as both having no chance. I would not have ran this race if I had no chance.
What is the most important thing that we are not talking about right now that we
most important thing that we're not talking about right now is a great question. We're not talking about the lake. We're not talking about all the tax revenue that we're losing. We're talking about stats that are essentially cooked. And those stats need to be officially transparent, related to the owners of the city, which is every citizen here. And what I've seen in Burlington is the entire city decline. So the entire city needs to be looked at and reopened. Reopen Burlington. That's my slogan.
Thank you,
Patrick.
So I'm most definitely not a protest candidate. I'm not running to get any one message out there or pull votes from anybody else. I've already established some of the stuff we're not talking about and my views on some of the stuff we are. When it comes down to it, if we only ever voted for established politicians or their relatives, we're not living in a democracy, we're living in an oligarchy. And if that's what you'd like, more power to you, but that's not what I'm here for, and that's not, I think, what Burlington stands for.
Thank you.
I see one more question, and then we'll go over to our city councilors. Jim Carrier, your question.
I want to ask Max, my just watching what's going on in the New North End, the general tenor of things is that the progressives, and I'm a progressive, are outspending our means. And you as sort of the chief progressive, I'd like to hear if you could answer that question. I mean, you look at your website, it's going to take a lot of money to do what you want to do. And how are you going to answer the question, or can you answer the question? And certainly the mayor has made a point throughout his career of being conservative in his spending. Are you going to spend all our money, or are you going to kind of hold the line, or what? How do you deal with that impression, certainly that I have in the New North End, that you're that you're going to waste our money.
Well, thank you so much for the question. I think it's an important one because I've been part of getting the city as a city councilor for the last 9 years, been a key collaborator in getting the city back on its feet in terms of city finances. I think that we have had a collaborative effort between the council and the administration to get city finances back. And that effort has really been instructive and has made me understand directly that we need to be very careful with people's money, but that also we need to make strategic investments in order to save money down the line. So I think that we need to develop a new 5-year infrastructure plan in order to make sure that we're able to make sure that we're taking good care of our resources in our city and doing so in a responsible fashion that doesn't go beyond our means. I think we also need to keep an eye on debt as we are starting to reach the upper limits of our debt policy, making sure that, again, we don't take on too much. And I think that with this budget, my main priority will be keeping city services going and keeping city employees on the payrolls and continuing to do the jobs that Burlingtonians depend on.
You're running out of time there. Thank you.
Jeff, would be all right if I weighed in on that one too?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So Jim, thanks for the question. I would just say if you stick with this administration, you can have both prudent management of your money, keeping your property taxes under control, while also having investment in some very progressive goals. Over the last 9 years, we have kept municipal tax increases within the rate of inflation, while at the same time investing like we never have before in our sidewalks and our streets and our bike paths, in early childhood education, in the most ambitious net zero energy city goals of any local government in the country. And if you stick with proven leadership, you can have that for another 3 years. I'm committed to that.
Okay.
Thank all you candidates for coming out.
Hi.
Really
Sir.
appreciate your time.
Sir, I just want to say one thing. Thank you for everybody for keeping patient during this debate. It took 2 years to build City Hall Park. I sat there and watched them move dirt back and forth. You give me a backhoe and one man, I could have done that job by myself with a flagger in a day. But it shouldn't take 2 seasons is all I'm saying. So as far as wasting funds, we could start by stopping wasting funds.
Thanks, candidates. This will continue on future debates. I mentioned that there's an all wards mayoral debate coming up. So if y'all have questions, save them for then. And we look forward to all your time. Thanks for candidates. We're lucky to have great candidates like you. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great night, guys.
City council candidates now?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. We will.
By the way, while they're getting set up, there are a couple of people who are in the wait room who refuse to give us their ward. Given what happened tonight, we're not letting them in. We state this on the agenda. You need to have your full name and your ward in order to get in. And if they're not doing that, we're not taking the risk tonight.
Thanks, everybody. We'll now turn over on a very eventful night and a little bit late night to a great topic with our city councilors, our candidates. Again, 2 great candidates. We're going to start off with a little bit of a bridge time. We said 15 minutes. We'll probably bring it down to 12 minutes. Give you all, you both, 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. Not that we don't already know you, but for those that don't. And so we'll start off with Mark Barlow, 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes for Kienan, and then we'll go to questions.
Sure. Well, thank you to the NPA for this opportunity tonight, and thank you to Councilor Polino for his service for the last 2 years. Most of you may know me, but I'll just give you a brief overview of who I am. I've lived most of my life in the New North End. I think it's the best part of the city, in my opinion anyways, with the beaches, the parks, the bike path, our neighborhood schools, and almost everything else you might need just up the street at Ethan Allen Shopping Center. I moved here as a kid in the 70s, attended Hunt Middle School, graduated from BHS. And when my wife Kelly and I wanted to raise our family, we wanted to do it here in the New North End. So we bought a house here 20 years ago and have been here ever since. Professionally, I've worked for some well-known Burlington area businesses, including the Chittenden Bank, Digital Equipment, Burton Snowboards, and Ben & Jerry's as a software engineer before co-founding my own company back in 1999. We provide online marketing tools and services for 3 different industries. We are an ESOP and in the process of transferring company ownership to our employees. Every employee is empowered to think and act like an owner. We practice open book management. It's an extremely transparent, collaborative work environment. It's the kind of environment I strive to have in my public service as well. I've been an active and engaged community member, founded Friends of Leddy Park in 2009. We do park cleanups. I was elected to the school board in 2015 and re-elected in 2017 and served North District both times. And while on the board, worked on a wide range of initiatives and tasks, including capital projects, budget development, collective bargaining, and equity issues like closing the achievement gap and restorative justice. I also did a lot of advocacy with state legislators to change the education funding law. And some of the things that were talked about earlier with regard to weighting and finding funding sources for multilingual liaisons is something that was very important to me then. And I'm on the Parks Commission now. I'm running for city council because, like many, I have serious concerns about the way the progressive majority on the council is governing, and I think we can do better. We must address racial disparities in policing, and reimagine how public safety is provided in Burlington, but I believe the policing reform has been mishandled by the city council, and I've been outspoken about this since June. I'm also concerned about the lack of process and the rush to put various agenda-driven items on the ballot without a proper, robust public process involving all community member and stakeholders. And I'd like to see more focus on economic development, like getting City Place finished as the project is currently imagined, which is like 400 units of additional housing, because I think that has a direct positive impact on affordability. On the school board, we had to get our budgets approved every year, and that required us to have an affordability lens on school spending. And if elected, I would bring that same lens to city spending.
Okay, Mark, you're out of time.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Kienan Christianson, and I want to thank the NPA Steering Committee for hosting all this. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really excited to have a great discussion with all of you. You know, 2 years ago, I knocked on 1,700 doors, and the thing that I heard most consistently was that people wanted more community development, and they wanted ways to connect with their neighbors. We launched the community dinner, and we brought over 150 neighbors before the NPA to have great food and get to know their neighbors. By the time of our 4th dinner, we were running out of tables. That kind of community development and engagement is super important to me because it allows us to connect with one another and engage with one another in ways that is nonpartisan and in ways that shows that at the end of the day, we're all neighbors and we're all out to do the best that we can and to support one another. Like many of you, COVID-19 has impacted the ways that we engage with one another, and unfortunately it brought an end to our dinners. But as we move forward, who we choose as our next city councilor is going to matter. Maintaining high quality schools and in-person learning means we support our families and keep our communities strong. That's why when the Burlington School District needed help with the DOJ investigation, they hired me and my firm. Finishing the downtown development means we not only create a vibrant downtown, we create jobs and opportunities for folks to stay right here in the New North End. That's why my experience on the Development Review Board is going to be so helpful in charting a path forward and ensuring that we're creating a development project that has the buy-in of the community and is financially sound. Creating a holistic community safety model that includes crisis intervention teams means we can support our police department and ensure that we're getting our neighbors connected to long-term resources that stop 911 calls. I'm a big advocate of holistic litigation. That's why I represent survivors of violence in restraining order cases and custody disputes. I've worked closely with the Burlington Police Department, and they do a good job, but they can't solve all of the long-term consequences that come from issues like domestic violence. We need a holistic approach to support our neighbors so that our police department can focus on doing the good job that they do and we reduce overall calls to them. Community development means that we can combat food insecurity. When COVID-19 hit, not only did we see the creation of BB's Delivery Collective, which brought free food to our neighbors, we've seen an increase in investment to our New North End food pantry, and I intend to increase not only our development when it comes to food security, but also augmenting programs that we already have in place so we're not recreating the wheel and we're not retaxing our constituents. I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to hear what questions you have, and I'm welcome any issues you want to talk about tonight. Thank you so much.
Good job, you made it. Just barely.
Great. The first hand I saw was Nancy. What's your question, Nancy? You're muted, Nancy.
Okay.
Great.
My question is for Mark. Mark, given that you're running as an independent, why, let's see, as an independent, I'm wondering what will your approach be to caucusing with other councilor members?
Well, currently, I don't plan to caucus with either party. I do plan to talk with everybody, and I'll spend more time with the people that I strenuously disagree with, and the ones that I do agree with, I'll try to build relationships with those councilors and try to find common areas of interest and trust in those relationships. I think that will help to break down some of the divisiveness I see on the council right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Monica?
Hi, I'd like to ask a question for Kienan. Kienan, you seem to be involved in so many different things, which is awesome. Your law practice, the DRB, the volunteer legal clinic. How will you balance your responsibilities as a city councilor with all of your other obligations?
So that's one of the things that I'm most proud of, is that I'm really committed to maintaining all of my volunteer opportunities and making sure that I'm committed to doing the best that I can for our city. One of the things that I consistently promise to my clients is I'm going to exceed your expectations, and I'm going to make sure that you get the best deal and a fair shake with our justice system. And that's the first thing that I'm going to be focused on as your next city councilor, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected, is to ensure that whether you agree with me or not, you are entitled to respect and dignity. And I want to make sure that your voice is heard, because at the end of the day, we're running to represent the New North End. We're not running to represent ourselves or, partisan ideas. And so for me, what's important is that we continue to come together, and I'm excited to, continue my opportunities. I will, of course, have to give up the DRB just because I can't be a city councilor and sit on the Development Review Board. But otherwise, I fully intend on balancing my many commitments, and I'm just excited that I'll have this opportunity if I'm fortunate enough to be elected.
All right, TJ.
So I've been having conversations with friends, and we're confused by how someone gets certification or endorsement from multiple parties. The city council is heavily progressive. And so I'd love both of you to talk about, do you think that's right, that someone should get 2 endorsements from different parties? And just also, how would you fit in with the other councilors that are on the city council already?
I'll hop in there. So what I'm excited about by being endorsed by both the Progressive and Democratic Party is this is only the second time that has ever happened in the history of Burlington. And the reason why people voted for me and the reason why both parties support me is because I have good working relationships with everybody. I'm willing to work with everybody across, a host of the political spectrum. And I have the skill set to bring people together. And you don't just have to take my words for it. Let's look at the community dinner. People said that couldn't happen. And so we brought together members of the NPA. We brought together community members from across the New North End. We got people talking and discussing the issue. And as a result, we had this fantastic dinner. I mean, again, we had over 150 neighbors coming before the NPA. And as a result, we got better communication. We got more people involved in the process. And I just feel so fortunate that I've got the trust of 2 major parties backing me, because they know that I've got the skill set and the ability to help solve some of our biggest issues.
I guess I'll answer as well. I've asked that same question. I don't know how you get the endorsement of 2 parties. It seems to me that a political party is a group that you have some fidelity to. So in the case of other competitive citywide races, if you're a member of 2 parties, how do you support those members of both parties in those competitive races? So for instance, in the mayoral race, If you're a member of the Progressive Party and the Democratic Party, or you have the endorsements of both, are you supporting Mayor Weinberger or Council President Tracy? These are things that I'm wondering about.
Next question.
Keenan, do you want to respond to that, or do we want to move on to the next question?
I mean, again, like what's fortunate about me having the backing of both parties is that, like, I had voters from the Progressive Party vote in favor of me, and I had voters in the Democratic Party vote in favor of me. Unlike my opponent, I've had voters support me already in this race. And I think that's so important because it shows us exactly how much support is out there for this kind of unity, this bridge building between the parties. And I've got that skill set. That's why I have both parties' endorsements.
Thanks. So your question?
Hey, I have a question for Mark. So Mark, I'm a former Burlington High School student. I believe I was at school while you were on the school board of class of 2019. And so when you were on a school committee, the budget increased every year, but the classroom impacts were minimal. The opportunity and achievement gap widened. There were fewer resources for students and parents, and teachers left in droves. So given the economic crisis facing cities and towns due to the pandemic, why are you the best person to monitor and protect public funds?
Well, I think we did a good job while I was on the school board of balancing difficult fiscal situations with trying to maintain programs and services for our kids. I mean, definitely it was a difficult balance to have. I would argue that teachers didn't leave in droves, although I've heard that narrative talked about before. You know, if you remember during that time, we had Act 46, which constrained spending. We were coming off of 10 years where the school district had overspent 7 of those years. So we had a lot to do to get our fiscal house in order, which we did, while maintaining programs and services for kids and being able to start to close the achievement gap. Obviously, that's a longer term endeavor, and I know that work continues today.
Thanks, Mark. Nancy?
This question is for Mark again, please. Mark, who are you going to support for mayor and why, if you don't mind sharing that with us?
Sure. Well, I have a Miro Weinberger sign in my front yard, so I guess that's my answer. I'm supporting Miro. I haven't agreed with Miro on everything all the time over the last bunch of years, but I've gotten to know him. And I think he's brought a level of professionalism to the city that we were missing prior to his stewardship. And he has the experience and trying to navigate our way through this pandemic and with some of the other challenges we have. I think that he's the best person for the job.
Jeff, we probably ought to call a halt to this so that we can go on and do the ballot items and not run over. We're going to run over about 10, maybe 10 to 12 minutes tonight because of the disruption.
We have one more, Peter Kuipers.
Oh, you have a lot more, actually. You have about 3 or 4 more hands that are up. So,
all right, we're calling it after Peter.
Okay.
Should we go to closing statements?
We don't do closing statements tonight. We don't have time.
Hi, Peter. You're muted.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a junior at Burlington High School, and my question is for Mark. I've noticed on my street that 2 of our houses that had Trump signs during the election, and actually one still has one up, they both have Mark Barlow signs on them. And I was wondering what your views are on that, that some of your supporters seem to have supported or still support a former president that has incited, or some of us believe that has incited us insurrection on our US Capitol and has discriminated against many minority groups.
Well, I certainly share those views, Peter. I do believe that the riot was incited by former President Trump. And I disagreed with him on most things while he was in office. You know, one of the things about support for my candidacy is that I share concerns that cut across all political parties about the style of governance that currently dominates the city council agenda. And so there's a variety of people, from You know, old school progressives like Peter Clavell and Jane Nodell that are supporting me. Middle of the road Democrats like Gene Sullivan and Dave Hartnett and you know, even Kurt Wright support me. So I just have a wide base of support, and just because I have that support doesn't mean that I share political views with all of my supporters.
All right. Thank you, candidates. We appreciate your time and your running. And we will be moving on to our last topic, which is our ballot items. Sarah Carpenter, are you still with us?
I am.
Great.
Happy to be here. And we got a lot on our plate for the tail end of the
sticking
night.
with us.
We will have, in addition to the school tax increase request, there'll be 6 other ballot items this year. So it's going to be a busy year for the ballot. 4 of those are charter changes. Charter changes, for those of you who don't know, are really a change to our governance. That's our constitution, if you will. Voters pass those. It then has to go in the state of Vermont to the state legislature for their approval. Then it comes back to the city, and often embedded within the charter change is the request that the city issue it or establish more ordinances to fully flesh out the charter changes. So I'll quickly review those. I also just want to mention that I spoke with Assistant City Clerk Amy Bovee today, and tomorrow, I believe, is the last day, or really Friday, to get all the wording, all the ballot done, and it will be fully posted on the city website. So I'm reading from what I believe to be all the final wording, but at the end of the day on Friday, you can check the website if you want more of the detail. I also want to say that the City Council last night, or Monday night, agreed, as Franklin mentioned, we're all going to be getting a mailed ballot this year. And in the previous years, when you had a ballot item, you have a short form, and then the long form would be available in your voting booth. And this year, we've agreed to mail that or include something in your mail-in ballot that will have the wording. And again, it's confusing. We have a sort of a short form and a long form. So that's something you really want to pay attention to. The first charter change item that we'll be considering is a proposal to implement ranked choice voting for just the city council race. It's been discussed and in varied proposals to have the mayor included. That is not the case. This would just be for the city council race using the methodology that we had previously used a number of years ago. There are multiple methodologies, but this would be the same methodology. The second charter change, which is really more straightforward, is to include a representative from the city of Winooski on the airport commission. That's been discussed for some time. And in addition to including a Winooski resident, we would also add an additional Burlington resident. So there's maintaining a balance. We already have a representative from the city of South Burlington on the airport commission. The third ballot or charter change relates to enacting ordinance protections, which are to prevent or outline reasons for eviction of tenants called just cause. And that is a little longer ballot item, so I encourage you to read it. It will define certain causes for purposes of eviction, but it will disallow for solely that lease termination be a reason for an eviction. Within that, there will be certain exemptions from those ordinances, provided with mitigation and notice requirements, and that there be a limit on unreasonable rent increases for the purpose of eviction. And then the fourth item relates to climate change and a request to regulate thermal energy systems in residential and commercial buildings, including the ability to assess carbon impact or alternative payments for the purposes of implementing that. But any assessment for those fees would not be imposed until they've been authorized by a legal vote of the majority of the citizens in Burlington. The fifth ballot item goes along with that and was proposed by the council because I believe through the course of the charter change on thermal energy, there's been some misunderstanding of the goals, and this advisory question will ask the city in any regulations we put together for residential or commercial buildings that we create policies and programs and incentives to make sure that low and moderate income Burlingtonians, BIPOC people, and others are disadvantaged will be assisted in transition to clean energy programs. And then the final ballot item that we're going to have relates to a request for opting in for the retail sales of cannabis. This last legislative session, the state promulgated a series of legislation that says if you want to sell, it will be legal to sell cannabis, but towns have to opt into that program and following the rules that the state have promulgated. Our proposal has a modest difference in the state, and we're proposing that retail sales be allowed across the board starting in October of 22, which is when the same date that the state allows smaller growers and businesses to sell cannabis. So that's all it in a short version. I'll try as best I can to answer any questions on each of them.
Before we do go to questions, I would really like to thank Sarah, because I emailed her and asked her if she would be willing to do these and gave her a very short time span to find out about them and also a very short time on the agenda. And I really appreciate, Sarah, your willingness to step up and do this for us. Thank you.
And I will say, you know, to any of you, and I'm sure others will, you know, if you want to email me offline if you have more questions. We don't have a lot of time, and these get complicated quick.
And Linda did ask her a long time ago before she had surgery and is still recovering from surgery. So thank you, Linda, for still being a timekeeper as you're recovering.
Thank you.
From my couch.
DJ, you had a question?
Yeah, my question for Sarah, you said that the just cause eviction, that we should read that. How do we get access to that? Where would we find that to be able to read it and understand it better?
I certainly can send it to you, TJ. The long form was adopted a few weeks ago. It would be in the minutes of the meeting where we adopted it. And I should have the date. I just put a link on the chat, I think, that says this is where Amy Bovey told me all the notices will be posted. If it's not up by Friday, let me know, or I'll send it to you offline. One of the problems often with how we pass these things is you have to go back to the meeting date we passed them, look at the minutes, and it will be posted in the minutes of that particular meeting. I don't know if does our Ward 4 and 7 NPA little page allow us to post things like where the ballot items are? I'm not clear on that.
We can ask Cito.
Okay, because we can see if we can post the full ballot items on that page as well.
Are they anywhere else on the city website?
Yeah, they by Friday they'll all be on. The process is they have multiple hearing dates. They have to go through the city council. Then in the last few weeks, we've had 2 public hearings on the charter changes. So and the last public hearing on the charter changes was this Monday, 2 days ago. We did not make any changes as a result of those hearings. but we're waiting for the final sort of signed version to be posted.
Jeff, as a follow-up to what Sarah said, that after Friday, if you go to the city clerk's page under the elections tab, all of the ballot items and the candidates list will be on the city clerk's page as well.
I just put a link, which is, I think where it'll connect you there. I don't think they're all up now, but they will be by Friday.
Great. Thank you. Monica, your question?
I just wanted to ask, I know, Sarah, you mentioned that everyone's going to be sent a mail-in ballot. Is there not going to be any voting in person for town meeting?
Absolutely, that will carry on. We voted on Monday, like what in the fall, it was actually done by the state. The state now has allowed the municipalities to make the decision of whether they want to do mail-in, and our city council agreed to do mail-in. So it'll be similar to what we had in the fall, but we will absolutely still have the in-person votings in Ward 4 and Ward 7.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right.
Actually, somebody here was reminding me that, again, there'll be drop-in ballot boxes. There'll be 4 around the city. And then if for some reason you get your ballot and you forget it or you lose it, you can still come to the polling place to do it. And I want to give a shout out to Sal Millichamp and Tom Fleury, who managed it last time, and I have great confidence they will manage it this time.
Yeah, if you can't find your ballot or the dog had it for lunch, you just show up and fill out a form that you don't know what happened to it and you haven't mailed it in, and they'll give you another ballot. No excuse not to vote.
No excuse not to vote.
We have
Hey,
very
we
good
didn't do
voting
it.
in Wards 4 and 7.
Absolutely. We were the 2 highest wards by far in the city. So we should be very proud.
All right.
Well, we will wrap up this meeting. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Remember to reach out to us for topics. We don't have so many candidates. You can do that through the website or give us a call or email. And we are looking for new members as well. We're happy to have Karen joining, but there's room for more. You saw there's a lot of work to do on this. We're trying to prevent things that happened like tonight. More hands make light of work. So, you know, join and help us out, and it will be great. We'll continue working on those Zoom meetings.
Yeah, to answer Lee Trehune's question, yes, this is recorded. Channel 17 recorded it, and you can get it archived from them, and we have recorded it too. Also, please remind people who couldn't get in tonight, we need your name and your full name and your ward, and that we have found is the best way to prevent what happened tonight. So
guys, this is Martine. Can I make one last suggestion?
Sure.
I was just wondering if when we have a big election like the one we have coming up, if we could do a couple of nights of NPA and maybe even just dedicate them to debates.
We used to do that, but the problem, Martine, this year was nobody wanted to come Christmas Eve, so we canceled that meeting. And because the ballots are going out the very first part of February, we normally would do ballot items one night and candidates another. But if we had done that this time, we would have had either ballot items or candidates the end of February, and most people would have already voted.
We tried to go over that at the
Can I ask
beginning.
a
of
quick
the
question?
meeting.
Sir? Okay, I just wanted to know, is it hard to launch a debate? Because we could have one going by next week. And I feel like whether you want to focus on positivity or negativity, obviously positivity is always the goal. There's so much to talk about. And so it's like, could we have one next week? It's possible, isn't it?
It isn't possible through NPA because we do our steering committee meetings and our things. It's possible to do it, set up a Zoom account and do it.
Okay, well,
Well,
yeah, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate
Well,
it.
I would reiterate what Jeff Clark said at the beginning of the meeting, that there is an all wards mayoral Zoom debate. Is it February 7th, Jeff?
It's February 2nd, I thought.
7 days, the 7 days one?
No, it's the all wards. So we're wards 4 and 7. All the wards have come together to put one together with the help of CEDO.
Where's that listed on the website?
So it will be posted on Front Porch Forum with when and where it will be, and but it's going to be another Zoom meeting like this.
One other thing too, that a lot of you are new to NPAs. NPAs basically are to give you a slight insight into what's going on. If you want to do something more in depth, you're perfectly willing to do, able to do that. But that's not historically been the role of our NPAs. So we've given you sort of an overview of candidates, and we know it's never enough. And then if you want to do something more in depth, we encourage you to do it, but do it outside of the realm of the NPAs.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, they're once a month. We do once a month NPA meetings. They're 2 hours, 7 to 9, fourth Wednesday of the month.
And we're looking, and I don't know, is this TJ that's asking?
No, it's Will Emmons.
Oh, Will, unfortunately, you don't live in our ward. We'd love to have you be on our steering committee.
My mother does.
Tell her to join.
Take your mother on our steering committee.
I'll come sit next to her.
No.
I'm kidding. Well, I'm serious, but I'm kidding.
Wait till redistricting, you might end up in our ward.
Redistricting, yeah, change the lines.
Sarah?
I just want to say, I hope there have been already several mayoral debates. I think there's several more coming up. I know that Channel 17 has had a half an hour forum of each of the 4 ballot items or charter change items. So they get some longer venue, and I encourage people to look at the Channel 17 directory for some of this.
Yeah, and that's the purpose of those versus the NPAs, which is just to give you an overview of stuff. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Since I'm the host.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.